Welcome to the Singapore Management University podcast series, where we feature the latest insights and perspectives from our faculty. The rise of social media in recent years and the pervasive use of various social media platforms have generated a huge amount of data. Analyzing these data and gaining insights from the analyses would reap benefits for governments, businesses, and the man in the street. Social media analytics is one of the areas of research undertaken at the Living Analytics Research Centre, or LARC, which is housed at SMU School of Information Systems. LARC is a collaboration between SMU and Carnegie Mellon University to conduct research on consumer and social analytics, as well as to develop new applications that would benefit individual consumers, public organizations, and private businesses. In this podcast, Professor Lim Yi Peng, who is the director of LARC, shares with us the centre's work on social media analytics, its benefits, and the centre's future plans. Professor, you and your research team at LARC have worked on developing ways to make use of social media data to identify interesting events that happen in the real world, as well as to discover social insights from within the Twitter network. Can you elaborate on these research?
Indeed, we have studied several Singapore-related events reported by social media users. I would like to highlight one, which is related to the Singapore Haze event in 2013. In that event, there has been a lot of media coverage about the various events related to the haze. And governments have also taken several actions to warn people about the danger of being exposed to the haze. But what is not very clear to the public is that there are a lot of other topical attention and emotion expressed by the general public, which may not have been noticed by the mainstream media. So using social media analytics, we are able to collect the social media data, extract and measure the topical attention of the users. For example, we found that people pay a lot of attention to the PSI index. They pay a lot of attention to the forest fire situation in Indonesia, and so on. And people also express emotion using social media. This could be positive or negative sentiment expressed, and the way they use the language in social media during that period of time. So our research also revealed that there are less check-ins of Singapore users on Foursquare to food and shopping related venues. That indicates that certain businesses may have suffered during the haze event. These are interesting examples of what we can find from social media using our developed techniques. Now, on the topic of measuring influential user in Twitter network, so we know that there has been a lot of work on finding most influential user in social media. And most of these existing methods are based on the assumption that the popular users and the user with many friends are more influential. Now, such an approach assumes that an influential user can influence others in all kinds of decisions, which is not always a correct assumption. So we believe that we should look into influential users, measure based on the type of topics they can influence over others. For example, a user who can influence others in what food to eat may not be able to influence others in what camera to buy. Right. So our research group therefore developed the first model that can measure topic-specific influential user. And since then, this piece of work has been very well cited by other researchers. So that summarizes the work that we have done in these two areas.
Can you share with us how the study of social media data would benefit businesses, the policymakers, and the man in the street?
Let me use the haze example for illustration. So in this particular event, if we analyze the social media to find more insights about the event, it could help to benefit the policymakers and men in the street in the following ways. So we can create better awareness of the impact brought by the haze event, extracted from the social media as a quick feedback to the public, so that people understand what are the latest concerns that they are expressed in the social media, expressed by the users. And for the policymakers, they can respond to the haze event faster, and based on some of this information that can be extracted from the social media as well. For example, if one detects there is a diffusion of rumors or misinformation about the event, policymakers can identify them and dispel them early enough so that we can avoid unnecessary concerns. So this probably will be a the good example of using social media to benefit public and policymakers.
SMU places an emphasis on generating multidisciplinary research. Can you share with us how you have collaborated with other parties on social media research?
In this area, we have been actively looking for collaboration with particularly the School of Social Science. So in the HAZE studies, we have worked closely with Professor Christy Scotland, who is a psychology professor from School of Social Science, to work out the different ways to analyze emotion expressed by social media users. And more recently, we are also collaborating with the Institute of Policy Studies of National University of Singapore to study how we could use social media analytics to predict topics and sentiment labels of online articles and social media posts. So we are always open to collaboration, and it's a matter of finding common interests.
As social media data are mined without the consent and knowledge of the users, how does your research team handle the issue of privacy?
We are very mindful of the privacy issues in the data, especially data related to individuals. So to overcome the issue of using privacy data for research, we train our researchers to respect privacy in the data that we have. This comes in different ways. So first of all, we do not encourage publishing individual user data in our research results. And we also educate our researchers so that they are aware that private information is something that is important to individuals, and we should not easily release those information to people who are not involved in our research. We also apply to institutional review board of the university for any user study research. So there is a high level of standard imposed on how we could use private information for our research work. So I think in the university, we are very careful in using personal data and private data. And if we constantly pay attention to the importance of such data, we should be doing fine in the research process. Yeah.
What other types of research into social media will you and your team at LARC undertake in the near future?
There are a lot of possibility in the future research on social media. I can name two of them. The first is that there are many users who are on social media, but they may not be generating content. So in social media, there are a lot of users who choose to be silent most of the time, not because they have no opinions or no views on issues and topics. It may be because they are too shy to express themselves, or they are not used to expressing themselves in the social media because of other peer issues. So it's interesting in our research to try to profile such users, and so that we can gather their opinions on the various topics, and so as to better understand the overall social media community. So this is an important research direction. On the second topic, we would like to pursue more profiling of location and businesses using social media data. Now, as we all know, social media contain a lot of users' opinion as well on the businesses, and all this information could be used to tell us how well does business perform in the mind of social media users, and in what way the businesses could perform even better in the future based on the feedback and comments given by the user. So we feel that this is a very interesting direction which could also help us to bridge the gap between technology and the business domain.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.